Hello, and welcome to the Healthy Adult Podcast. I'm Lori Jean Glass. I'm the CEO and founder of Pivot, and I am so excited to introduce our guest today. With us is Brittney Kelley. Hey, Britt.
Hey, Lori Jean.
So good to have you here. I was thinking this morning about my time with you, and, you know, gosh, I've known you for a minute.
Yes.
I've known you for a minute, and I was thinking about when I was introduced to you and how all that went down, which you can share if you'd like in a minute here. But I'm just so grateful that you're in my life, and just the belief you've had in my company and the help you gave us when COVID came down, and you created the Feels collection with Tribe Kelley. And gosh, and when I really think about it, it's like it's like a true believer, a true partner. Just I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that. And first off, thank you for having me. It does blow my mind. I feel like I met you like a couple years ago, but we're going on a while now. I guess how long has it been? It's been since
I think since
eight, yeah,
2018, 19. Yeah.
so like 5 years at least, which is crazy.
I know.
And I'm so grateful to have you in my life and mine and my husband's life. You've just absolutely changed, my perspective, my whole perspective, no pun intended. And yeah, I mean, I've been in and out of therapy since I was 17, and I've seen it all: traditional therapy, psychiatry. I've been in and out of it all. And when I met you, honestly, after the first two sessions, like my life was changed. Like I knew there was no going back to traditional therapy. And I know I've said this to so many people when they ask me about, the pivot process and how is that different? And, the main thing I tell them is, in traditional therapy, it's great. It's a great thing to go to. But I was feeling a lot like I was venting to my therapist. And when I had sessions with you, I felt like I was literally gaining tools and adding them to my tool belt. And like I was able to go out into the world confidently and use what I had learned, versus letting it all build up and then explode, in my weekly sessions. And I'm just forever grateful for you. And I know my husband's forever grateful for you. And we've been through a lot, and it's so exciting because I feel like a completely new person, even after a couple sessions with you, especially after 5 years. And I can't wait to see you again in person. I know me and BK, my husband, we want to come in person to the Glass House and see you soon. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that. Yeah. I know it's so interesting, when people talk to us about Pivot. I'm probably out of all the coaches, I think we have like 50 now. We've been growing, and, I'm probably the one that gets stuck when people ask me, well, what is it? Because for me, there's just so much there, So thank you for kind of explaining it in that way. And also just really honoring the therapeutic process, right? Because we don't compete with therapists. We have so many therapists that love what we do, and we work in conjunction with them depending on their modality. Mm-hmm. And that's what I think is cool, because it is the tools. I think when people understand how to create, utilize, and customize boundaries, it's a game changer. And when people understand how to kind of own their mental health and really get their developmental parts, mm-hmm. then it's freeing. It's like relational freedom is what we call it. Mm-hmm. I was, for our listeners, it was kind of cute. I texted Brittney last night, and I told her that my adolescent self, who I call Scarlett, if you've read my book, you know who she is. She's like wanting to talk to Brittney's adolescent self. And because we're like twin sisters, from experiences in life that have been so traumatizing from a very young age, that it's so nice to know that we get to pivot into a healthier self and don't have to let all of that keep us down and keep us weighted down and keep us, in that mindset of, who's going to mess with me now, and
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, after some time working with you, a big thing that stuck with me in the beginning was, you telling me, you aren't, your past and your trauma. And, you go and sit in therapy and, people say, well, you have PTSD, you have anxiety, you have all these things. And a lot of the times you leave feeling like that is who I am. I'm an anxiety ridden, post-traumatic person. And, you explaining the different parts of self, just it's like someone let me out of a mental prison, because it's like, that isn't who I am, especially
Yeah.
when I'm in my healthy adult. It's what I've experienced and what I can reflect back on and understand why I'm acting or thinking the way I'm thinking. But you really gave me hope that these, these things that have been placed upon me aren't who I am. It's just my experience, and that you can build off that and utilize these tools that the pivot process really gives you to navigate your way through an imperfect world, using tools that ultimately help you find freedom and get in that healthy state. So that was huge for me to, because when we first met, it was like, well, I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I've got all these things built up. And, for my personal situation, and I'm not against medicine, but I didn't want to be put on medicine. I wanted to use my mind and knowledge and figure out how to navigate the world, because the world's never going to be perfect, and so that was super freeing to me, that I was not my past and that I could move into a healthier, more conscious state. It was just amazing. That's one little part of why pivot is so amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really love your story, because it really gets into that it really gets into that part where here you're beautiful inside and out, and you're married to a rock star or country star, or whatever whatever he wants me to call him, his star. Yeah. And there's a lot of complexities and a lot of really interesting roads to travel, and pressure and all of that. And I love that you really grounded down and thought, you know what, I'm going to stay true to me. I'm going to help be the best person I can be in the world, which includes being a good wife. And I just really appreciated your choices, Brian's choices, and who you guys continue to be as you step into and grow into who you truly are. It's been really fun watching him step into his solo career. And I know there was a lot of controversy around that, still is, and I won't drop into that obviously here, but I just wanted to share that things aren't the way they look.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just not the way they look. And it's so cool to watch it all happen and see success on both sides, and see like, where everything is headed. I love that for all of you. It's really cool the way that you showed up for all of that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And while navigating your own business, Tribe Kelley, which is super cool. Maybe you can share a little bit about Tribe Kelley.
Yeah, of course. Let's see. Tribe Kelley was kind of my brainchild in college. I had my own Etsy account, and so used to work at Buffalo Wild Wings. Hated it. So I was like, how can I make some money not serving wings? And so smelling like wings. I still love all the sauces, but I was ready to get out of the restaurant industry. So I started an Etsy account, and then my husband and I got married at the end of my college career, when I was at the University of Georgia. And so I went directly onto a tour bus with all these dudes from Florida Georgia line, which was wild and crazy. And then Tribe Kelley was born that first year that we got married. And so it's going on 9 years now, which is wild.
Wow. 9?
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I slowly started to understand that, I was a leader to many people. And that was another, reason to really get my mental in check, because when you're leading people, you can't lead with your child self or your teenager self, you know. A
Oh,
lot
do
of
I know?
and a
Yeah.
lot of the times when challenging, when challenging scenarios come up, you do try to, lead with that. And so,
Mhm.
knowing the pivot process has absolutely changed my business too.
Mhm.
Being able to use the circle boundaries, set communication, whole perspective, even within my business, has just changed the game. Because I guess I was about 4.5 years into Tribe Kelley when you and I met, and the dynamic after we met and after I'd got into pivot absolutely changed. It absolutely changed the game with relationships, and that's what's great because pivot isn't just if you're suffering or if your marriage is suffering, it's relational. It's like even if you don't feel like you're even suffering, to be able to learn these relational tools absolutely helps you navigate the world with strangers, the world with your coworkers, or if you're in college or even high school. It's just all your relationships. Like all of these tools help you navigate these relationships to the highest ability that you can. And so, Tribe Kelley has a lot of moving parts. We manufacture our own goods. So I have a team in California I have to speak with. We fulfill our own goods. I have a team in California fulfillment I have to speak with. I have an internal team. I have a store. So I have a whole nother set of, folks I have to deal with. And it's so much easier to navigate, and I get to solutions so much quicker by using just these quick tools that, it's just like a filter that everything runs through. And so, Pivot's changed, me as a business, woman, which has just been magical. But yeah, Tribe Kelley's our baby. We have a lot of other projects. We're entrepreneurs. So, we're opening a restaurant in Florida, which actually opens next week. It's called Papa Surf. I will absolutely tell you that Pivot has helped Mariah, my teenager, not come out in that scenario. Because I can't tell you how many times Mariah has just wanted to go up there and just tell everybody off. And I have been able to honor who she is and step into my healthy adult with that. So yeah, it absolutely, helps in business. And I've just seen such a change in like my leadership structure and how I deal with those relationships.
Yeah. I love all that. And when you were talking, I was flashing on when I first met you. I so appreciated you had like this act hunger to get your generation to really understand mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And not just with Pivot, but with all things that you were reading and studying and talking about. And like really on your social channels, you care deeply, where a lot of people would probably marry a rock star and just be, ultra focused on what to wear next. I mean, you do that well anyway.
Thank
But
you.
you know what I mean? Like you have like this really incredible um, need and want to just be able to help other people. And I remember when I went to one of BK's shows after he launched his solo album, and oh my gosh, it was so incredible to watch this young girl walk up to you. Well, so many people walk up to you guys. It's such a celebratory moment. And she looks at you and she says, I just want you to know how much I appreciate how much you've helped me by all the things that you've posted. I follow you on social. I mean, she got so much out of it. And it was such a great moment for me to watch you because you did that. Brittney did that. Like, we're just there to help you with some tools. But I love that you really, truly care deep in your heart about your generation coming out of all of this healthier.
Yes.
Like, how can I help? What can I do? How is this going to be effective? It was such a beautiful moment to watch that.
Yeah, and honestly, I truly believe that's one of my purposes here on Earth is to be a vessel for information and knowledge. And I grew up with my grandmother, and I watched her struggle with her mental health. And my parents were in and out of my life, addicts, and so I watched them struggle with their mental health. And um, a lot of the time, I grew up in the South, and so, not to stigmatize it, but when you talk about mental health, when I was growing up, it just was like, if you go see a therapist, you're like mentally ill, like you should be in like the cuckoo ward, and
Right.
that's kind of like the stigma around that. And I quickly became interested in psychology in later in high school, and psychology was my major. And then after I lost my Nana at 17 to just a terrible, terrible scenario, she was murdered by someone that she was dating. And I was, left alone at 17. And I knew deep down in my gut, I had, one of two ways to go. And that was, not getting the help I needed and being numb and shutting everything off, or really digging super deep down and getting uncomfortable and figuring out how to be the best person I could be coming out of this scenario. And so that's, what led me to psychology. And even in college, I saw that people, thought of mental health as this illness. And when in reality, we all need mental health tools, even if you have, what would be this picture perfect-esque life. Like, we all need tools to navigate relationships because this world is so imperfect. And so, in college, it just became very, very apparent that I wanted to be a voice of my generation to say, like, it's okay to get help. Like, if you've been through the most traumatic scenario, or if you grew up with no trauma, like, it's okay to ask for help and seek out knowledge. And I kind of became obsessive with self-help books. And I really, really wish I could have known Pivot in high school and college, because it would have just given me such a boost. But I felt it deep in my heart to want to get information out to others. And just relay that information, and the joy that it brings me to have people like you saw walk up to me, and instead of look at me and say, "Oh my God, I loved what you wore on the red carpet," or say some materialistic thing, for them to say like, "Hey, you helped me by showing me this book," or that quote that you posted. Like, that's more meaningful and fulfilling than really anything I feel like this life can offer. To be able to help open up someone's mind that there is more to life than feeling down, and it's really just discovery of information. There's so much information that our generation can access now that the
And
previous
apply to their story.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so just being able to step out there, and people may see my life as, oh, she's married to this country music star and her life's perfect, and her house is beautiful, her clothes are beautiful, her car is amazing, all these materialistic things. Like, people, for you to step out and say, hey, it's not always, rainbows and butterflies. Like, I suffer, I've gone through things, I still work on myself, is just something that I hope to continue to do until, my entire time on this earth. Because even when I'm 80 years old, I know there's still something to learn, and there's still, life to navigate that's imperfect. And so I truly do believe that is one of my purposes here, is to help spread that, knowledge and information. And, I'm the girl, like, if you see me out and about, like, I'd rather get with you in the corner and ask you, how's your heart? And like, what have you gone through? What is your trauma? Let's share trauma stories, just because it's such a more meaningful topic, and you connect with humans on such a deeper level when you go kind of past that surface. And we all struggle. I've been around the biggest celebrities in the world that have appear to have the most perfect life, and we still all struggle with very similar issues. And we all want to be seen and heard, and we all need to peel back the layers and see what's under there, so that we all can be our healthiest self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's so well put. Thank you for that. Yeah. Learning how to be vulnerable, right, is so key, I think. I used to unzip myself and just disclose everything in a way to connect with people, and not using discernment for a long time, which is what created the circle boundaries. When I really started to think about how can we have a boundary process that's customized and individualized, for each person. A lot of that went to, you know, what you're describing is, you know, some people like you and I, we really love connecting deeply and it feels good. Sometimes people connect deeply and it doesn't feel good
Mm-hmm.
because it's too painful, right? So they have a tendency to avoid depth and emotional intimacy more so than someone who's craving it because they grew up without it,
Right.
you know. So I really love that, you know, that you're speaking to that because we are all so unique.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Yeah.
all so unique, and learning how to navigate our own complexities in a way that creates connection as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to confusion is really where we get to celebrate that.
Yeah, and I love it, you know, what the circle boundaries do, and the confidence it gives you to be able to interact with people. And you know, I feel at a level that I'm healthy enough to share my story and to share some personal things with
Mhm.
people to show, you know, that I can be vulnerable. But I agree
Mhm.
with you. You know, there's not always people that you need to overshare with, and you know, I feel like if you're someone who doesn't feel like they should be vulnerable with the world, then that's probably your gut instinct. And you should have a therapist or have a coach where you dive into that because, um, you know, you can overshare with the wrong people. And so, yeah, I do want to clarify that. So it's like, I'm the person, yeah, at the party that's like, I want to talk about all the depths of the world. And I know my boundaries of where to go and where not to go. But it is super, super important to understand the circle boundaries and where you stand. And as you get healthier, you can be more vulnerable and open up more people to that world of mental health, you know? And yeah, I agree with you.
Aw. So what's next? Like what's happening now? You got the Papa Surf coming out, opening up,
Yep.
and where is that restaurant?
So it's down in Florida on 30A.
Okay.
So we're opening up that restaurant in collaboration with Aldane's and the Glavins. Um, and yeah, BK's solo music has just kind of taken over our life in the best way. We were just in New York this last week. I was telling you at Good Morning America and iHeart and Apple Music, and you know his songs on the radio now climbing up the charts. I'm pretty sure it's in the top 30 now, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
He's about to come out
I'll
with a
see
new
you next summer.
Yes. Yes. And so
Yeah.
he's about to come out with a new single. And actually, by the way, we were at an iHeart interview. I'll have to send you that because they were asking us love advice and it got really spicy. And I feel like you would just die laughing at this interview. But they also asked us how, you know, we kept everything together. And I
Yeah.
totally shouted out Pivot, gave them the website and everything.
Oh, I'd love to
um,
see that. It's so cute.
but
Thank
yeah,
you.
we're on the road, on and off the road, really just diving into BK's career, solo career, and just excited about life. We both feel like we're in really good places, and you know, COVID and kind of going through the FGL, you know, breakup was a lot for us, you know, because a lot of things happen on the inside that not everybody sees, and a lot of narratives get put out there that aren't necessarily true. So being able to navigate from our healthy adult self was really hard, but it absolutely like works out for us in the end. And you know, BK's able to, you know, take a deep breath, tell his truth, you know. The truth is always going to come out, you know, no matter what. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just been, we feel in a really good place. And honestly, I'm not just saying that, like, it's hats off to Pivot, because if not, I think, you know, we would have operated through that from a lower frequency and a self that we probably wouldn't have been proud of. And so we feel really healthy and just excited and charged up about life and, you know, what we have our hands into. And I have an amazing partner, so I can't like take all the credit here. He's such an amazing person. And yeah, we
So
just,
level headed. Yeah.
yeah,
It's
he
nice.
evens
It's
out
nice to
Mariah.
pair up. Yeah, it's nice to pair up with someone like that. I have one of those too now.
Yeah.
It's
But
nice.
we were just talking about, you know, when you came and we did like an intensive kind of life mapping, and yeah, it's just, even when you feel like you have control and you know, you feel like you're going in the right direction, to look to someone who's a mentor, or to look for more information on how you can navigate things, is just, it's game changing, you know. And even before you came, you know, we felt like we could navigate the world pretty well, but then after you left and just blessed us with your knowledge, we were like, you know. And I feel like at the moment you think you have it all together is the moment you should push more to seek more knowledge, you know, with mental health, because it's so powerful to have help, you know, from people that have been there before you and people that have more knowledge. And it's life changing, and it's game changing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love witnessing that post-traumatic growth with people, you know, after they kind of step into it, and also learning like the stuff that happened to us, you know, it's like I love that. I say this all the time. I'm probably like a broken record, but it really got me in every cell in my body when Oprah said it's not about what's wrong with the child, it's what happened to the child. And I have an inner child in me that was so traumatized and I believed to my core I was absolutely stupid because I'm highly dyslexic. You and I had addict parents. We didn't know WTF. Like the redcoats were coming every single day of our life. You know, it was just like, it was traumatic. And to be able to have those tools to know when those parts of ourselves get activated, and also build those parts of self, like build that inner child, let her be free, be playful. I'm so much more childlike with each year that goes by. Yeah. I get more and more like it's like my redo, and you know, we call that post-traumatic growth. And we're joking about Mariah and Scarlett, but the truth is our adolescent selves, without them, we wouldn't be here today talking. Like they have our fire, they have our will. It's such a necessary part of us, right? And when I see people go in and develop relationships with their developmental parts and learn how to grow and love them and utilize them the best they can be, that's like when I see the magic.
Yep.
That's the magic. That's the spice in the bedroom that y'all were talking about.
Yeah. No, it's life changing, because honestly, when I first started the work, you know, it's the most uncomfortable part when you start. It's when you want to quit, when you start reflecting on these parts. And, you know, you taught me so much, because I would reflect on Mariah and kind of be like embarrassed of her, you know, and like mad at her and
push her down.
Yeah, and push her down. And you know, with my child self, I would be sad for her, you know. And now that I've really grown in knowledge and really put in the work, which was difficult, it's not easy. Yeah, like I love those two parts of myself. You know, I love them so much, and they give me what I need. You know, they truly are, you know, your character. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I felt like I felt so embarrassed and shameful and guilty. And really when you honor it, and when you are able to reflect properly and have the tools and have a mentor and have a coach, you know, help you through that process, it's like you've been rebirthed, you know. And it's beautiful, because you can honor those parts of self, even if they do feel dark and shameful, and then come into this, you know, healthy adult. Like it's like you're a new blooming wildflower, and everybody's flower is different, and it's just so special, you know. And you can also have a lot of grace for other people too, you know. And instead of, I kind of posted something like this yesterday, but it's like, instead of looking at others like they're bad or they're evil, it's like you can look at others and think, dang, like they're limited. You know, they haven't done the work. They haven't understood their child self. They haven't understood their teenage self. Like God only knows what they've been through. And it helps give you grace for other people, not to look down on them, but just to give them grace of like, they are limited, you know. And it kind of helps free you from thinking that, you know, you're just better than everybody, or you just have the knowledge. And it's like, no, we are all navigating this world as best as we can. And that person that you think is bad or evil just literally doesn't have the tools. Like they don't have the consciousness to get to the next level and to honor, you know, those parts of their self and get into their healthy adult. And so it helps give grace with your own self. It helps give grace to other people and kind of lets you out of that mental prison of just good or bad. You know, we're all operating from places that most of us don't understand, you know?
That's right. That's so well put. That's absolutely right. Yeah, because it's not about, I always tell myself, it's not really about judgment. It's really kind of about safety. It's about safety and it's about discernment, right? It's not about judgment. It's really just about discerning. When I get really, really good friends and choose to, be more open and disclose more about my life with somebody, it's so important to me that I know I can trust them because I have that abandonment wound from the childhood that I grew up in, right? And when people can find out for them what their deepest pain body wound is, like what is it that makes them really get deregulated, that starts their nervous system to go awry, and then we turn to wherever, alcohol, sex, porn, whatever we turn to, which isn't necessarily bad, but we do it to escape. We never really get to go in and really address and see what's actually going on. And that's that. I love you've said, I think 3 times already. It's not easy. It's not easy.
I mean, it's like the gym. It's like I tell people this too, because I can see it on people's faces when I'm like, you need to commit. Like people are really interested in like, especially people from my past. They're like, how are you in this space? Like with what you've gone through. And I'm like, it's not easy. Like you don't just wake up one day enlightened and have all these tools. It's just like going to the gym. Like you don't see someone with a 6-pack and like a beautiful figure and think that they just were born like that. Like they've committed every single day and done really uncomfortable stuff physically to get their body in shape. And it's the same way with your mind. It's like, I didn't want to read 5 million self-help books. I didn't want to go sit through so many therapists and to finally find pivot. Like I didn't want to do all that, but the work that you put in truly reflects what's on the outside. And going to the gym for your mind is therapy, is hard work. It's a muscle. You are quite literally lifting weights with your coach mentally. And so I encourage people, because a lot of these people that come to me, like they are physically fit people. They are people who are, want more, and they're craving more information. They're craving more just out of life. And that's like one of the main things I tell them. It's like going to the gym for your mind and signing up with a coach and showing up when you don't want to show up, talking about the shit you don't want to talk about, and really digging deep, because it's not easy. It's not. But once you get there, it's so freeing that you literally feel like just so released, from these like.
It's so nice to understand why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Like, I never understood. I'd feel so bad when I was younger if I, would call somebody like 25 times in a row. Like, who does that? There's a lot of people today that are going to do that. Right? Or, so many different things that people do. That's kind of a crazy one, I know, but it's true. Like, why do you just cut somebody out of your life? How come we can't show up and have a crucial conversation? That's where it gets, more sophisticated with what we do at Pivot. Like, how do you give somebody and invite somebody into change with you, where they can actually hear you as opposed to getting defensive or just shut you out? It's so fascinating, when that happens. That's that discernment piece, not judgment, just discernment. Wow, that's really interesting. That person does not and cannot and will not show up for a crucial conversation. Even if the conversation led to, it's probably best if we take a break, which is okay. It's just really, really interesting to me. It's, the longer that Pivot's been alive now, and the more I have so many great people working for me now that are, quite frankly, like way smarter than I am. There are people like you, younger people that are contributing to all this really great stuff to help people really get their mindset. I'm joking with myself. I know I'm smart, but it's, I really hope that younger generation can feel more freedom relationally and not get bogged down by the labels like you were talking about in the beginning of this, and really learn to like who they are. Like learn to really, really have compassion for self, because when you do that, then that people see that. People see that.
Absolutely.
and regardless of where you are, you know, it's really cool. Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to share before we end our time together today? Any?
I mean, I just missed you and I wish we were in person.
I know, I know, I know. Soon, soon,
I
definitely. I know. I think about you guys every time I see a Muir Beach sign. I'm like, one day they love Muir Beach in California.
I love it. We love that. I know we're trying to get down there, and yeah, I think one really important piece, and this is what I tell people when, you know, they want to go sign up for Pivot is, um, the work never ends, you know, and that's a release too, because there's so many people that just want a quick fix. And like in this life, especially now with all the access we have to computers and, you know, everything being automated, like we want to buy, we want a quick fix. We want to purchase it or, you know, just get it overnight, you know, and it goes back to that gym analogy. Like so many people now are wanting to like, you know, go get cool sculpting or go get lasered or go, you know, they want this overnight fix. And
I
when
just
you're
get,
talking,
you know, three treatments of ketamine and I'm fine.
yeah, that's so it's like your mental is so worth working on. And if you just settle into the fact that the work is never done, I think is so just releasing because yeah, the world is so imperfect and it's just like you have to stay in the gym with your body until, you know, you're 80, 90 years old. Like if you want to stay flexible and you want to be able to navigate this earth, you have to like keep up with that. And I just encourage people, you know, even if you can't afford therapy right now, like to dig into some books and to get the hashtag healthy adult book by Lori Jean and figure out, you know, just like we save up for these things that we don't really need, like save up your money and like get a coach. And it's just so important because, you know, what we see on the internet and Instagram and, you know, our physical is nothing compared to your mental, you know, as you age and get older and your relationships are everything and family is everything and friends are everything. And to be able to navigate your relations are just is top priority for me, you know, and, Pivot's given me my life back, you know, and, I never thought before all the trauma that I went through, you know, life was just so dandy and, you know, fun. And I never thought I would feel that feeling again, but getting the tools and getting the help I needed, I can honor everything that I've gone through and understand my trauma and understand, you know, where I'm operating from. But still feel the freedom of like what you were saying, like feeling like a child and feeling, you know, just, I don't know, just educated and accepted no matter what the person in front of me thinks about me, you know, and it's just, Pivot's just been so special in my life and my husband's life. And I can't tell you how many friends and family have benefited from Pivot, even if they haven't gone through the coaching and they were able to read the book. And it's so special. And I really, I will die on the rock yelling, like, I think Pivot should be incorporated in every school system and in everyone's life. It's just, it's so rewarding and it's so freeing. And what you've done, Lori Jean, is just amazing. I mean, I don't even have the word for it. If there's a more magical word than amazing, like that's what this is. And it's just so special. And I'm so blessed that you've come into my life and, you know, my husband's life. And I love you. I love you so much.
I love you too. That's so sweet. Aw. Well, that's a wonderful place to end. And gosh, I think, you know, thank you so much for sharing so many great things about Pivot. That wasn't my intention.
It's true.
Today.
It's true. And this is not an ad. I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
This is like
I
all
really appreciate it.
reality. And it's just, yeah, it's just wonderful. And I can't thank you enough and your team enough. And, you know, my friends and family.
We've had a lot of people come, you know, to our lovetopivot.com and fill out the thing. And, you know, I heard Brittney Kelley. Brittney Kelley said, you know, it's really sweet how many people you've brought to us, and that even if they don't engage all the way, they do get little things from it, you know, and sometimes that's what happens, you know, we get seeds planted.
Yep. And even
then all
following you on social media, following Love to Pivot on social media, reading the book, like there's so many free resources that you can access. And, you know, it's just committing to getting healthier is the hardest step. You know, the hardest step is admitting like, okay, like I want to dive in and do this. And yeah, I mean, the more you want it, like you'll figure it out. And it's rewarding. It's priceless. And it's life changing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think I want to close with, tell me about the ring around your neck.
This is a ring that my husband gave me. It was like a gold maker out of Colorado, and they do freeform gold. And so I don't know if you can see it all the way, but it's like they like everything's custom. So he got this for me, I guess like 4 or 5 years ago, and so my fingers got too fat, so I had to put it on a necklace.
I love that. I love that. I know I can't wear rings on this finger. Speaking of, you know, going to the gym every day, I went to a Barry's boot camp class. You know, I'm like by far like 20 years older than anybody in the class at the time, you know, and I'm running on the treadmill and I'm like next to like 2 people and my inner teen is like, oh, hell no, they are not going to like outwork out LJ. So I'm running as fast as I can. And then all of a sudden I wipe out and my hand went down into the treadmill.
No.
I knocked my head. Yeah. I mean, that happened a while ago and I still can't wear rings. Now I've got a fat hand.
Oh no, LJ. Oh, you had to get a little humble pie there at the Barry's.
Oh, humble pie, man. I ate the whole freaking donut shop.
Oh.
Yeah, it's still, but you know, that's the beauty. I can giggle, I can laugh, I can see that, you know what? LJ, like,
yeah.
come on.
You gotta tame Scarlett a little bit. Hey, back off, okay?
Yeah, it's like just keep it real, you know. It's so funny, you know, when we look at our lives and where we're at and what we're going through, and I'm so grateful that I get to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I get to laugh at all my imperfect parts.
And honestly, like I know we're trying to like wrap this up, but laughing is the best medicine. And once you have the tools of pivot, like, and you know, like me and BK, we haven't really fought in like years because of pivot, because it's like, not to say we haven't like had a healthy disagreement, but it always comes to laughter because we're like, well, damn, we literally can't even argue because we have the tools to not argue. And this shit is funny because I'm operating for Mariah and you're operating for, you know, and it's,
or
it always ends in laughter.
You can say it, right? You know, like I was having a really difficult week last week with a family situation, and my partner came home and I can say to him, you know, honey, I really need a hug. And that's my inner child. Whereas, you know, 15, 20 years ago, I would have come in, and if he didn't sense that I needed a hug and hug me, man, our night would be like
ruined.
Not great. Yeah, and
that was me.
Yeah, we have a husband and wife that work at Pivot. They're both coaches. They're a really cute couple, Marcus and Larissa. And they started talking one day. One of them said, you know, Pivot took our 3-day fight down into a 15-minute conversation.
Yes.
And I'm like, mic drop. That is like, oh, wow, that's so cool. It's like, there it is. There it is.
Exactly. I mean, literally, yesterday, something popped up. This lady on OnlyFans hit up my husband, said some stuff about some charity work, and 10 years ago, I would have just burnt this whole place down. Mariah would have been pissed. I would have been pissed at him. And it was just like
we looked her up.
5 minutes. We were done. Yeah. Handled it, solved. And it's the tools, you know, and it's like somebody could sit here and be like, well, what did you say? How did you do it? You can't even explain it because you have to learn the tools for yourself and you have to go through the process to be able to it filters within milliseconds. You're just like, okay, well, I feel insecure because, you know, I was abandoned, and I feel, you know, and you go through all these personal things and then you come out of it super healthy and you're like, holy shit, how did I do that? And it's so freeing. It's so freeing, you know? I can't agree more. It's amazing. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here today. And I can't wait to see you guys again soon, hopefully. And I'll be sending you super good vibes for great success on this current tour. And
Yeah.
excited to hear more of what you guys are both doing.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, we'll be eating some fish at Papa Surf before we know it.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you, Lori Jean, for having me. It's an honor that you wanted me to come on here, and I can't wait to share this with everybody. And I'm just so grateful to have you in my life, and can't wait to catch up soon.
Yeah, likewise, sweetie. Much love. Say hi to
Much
Brian.
love. Will do.
Okay. All right.
See ya.
Bye.